Hi, I'm Joyce with the Vancouver Writers Fest, and you're listening to the Books and Ideas audio podcast. I'm here on Granville Island in Vancouver, which is the home of the Writers Fest, and it's a beautiful summer day. So we decided to bring you this conversation with Carley Fortune, the New York Times bestselling author of Our Perfect Storm. She speaks here with her best friend, Meredith Marino, and this book takes place in BC as well, in Tofino. We hope you enjoy this conversation, and if you'd like to hear more events like this one, we have many special events coming up in September, as well as our week-long October Festival, which takes place from October 18 to 25th, and will feature over 150 authors. So we hope to see you there, and we hope you enjoy this summer podcast episode.
Hi. Hi. Hi, friends. Hi. Hi, friend. Hi, bestie. Here we are in Vancouver.
It's so nice to do this together.
It is so lovely to do this together on the last night of your Canadian Our Perfect Storm book tour.
Yes. The last night of all the Our Perfect Storm touring. This is it. We're done.
This is it. So we're going to make this one really good.
Yes.
So one of my claims to fame as Carley's best friend is I get all the dirt out of her.
She thinks she can.
So be prepared for some really exciting information tonight.
I will see about this. We'll see about this.
We will see. So Carley.
Yeah.
Your latest novel, Our Perfect Storm, debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm.
And readers all over the world are falling in love with Frankie and George. And tonight we're going to keep things spoiler-free.
Yes.
But why don't we start with a little summary of what Our Perfect Storm is all about?
Yeah, because somebody was dragged here by their friend who's like, I don't know who this author is, but
Who's this? Who are these two girls?
You're a good friend, thank you. So this is the story of Frankie and George, who have been best friends since they were 8 years old, but now they're 30, and things are a bit rocky between them. They've been growing apart. It's so bad with them that Frankie isn't sure if George is going to show up to her wedding as her best man. But she's having this big wedding festivities over the course of a weekend, and he does arrive. Frankie thinks everything is perfect, and then her fiancé leaves her the day before the wedding with only a mysterious note. And this devastates Frankie. She goes home to wallow, and George comes with a plan. He wants her to go on her honeymoon with him to Tofino. He has an idea, this kind of strategy for healing her broken heart, and Frankie wants to fix their friendship. And of course, neither of those things kind of go as planned.
I wonder if they'll fall in love.
They may. Spoiler.
Sorry, that's spoiler #1. So we were so lucky to just spend a few absolutely magical days in Tofino.
Yes.
And being in Tofino for the first time, I really felt like I was stepping into the pages of Our Perfect Storm.
I'm so glad you got there.
So tell me why you chose Tofino for the setting of Our Perfect Storm, and what is your personal connection to the island?
Yeah, so I lived on Vancouver Island for a year after I graduated from university. I lived in Victoria, and I visited Tofino twice while I was on the island, and I just fell in love with the place. I grew up partially in Australia and outside of Sydney, so my version of the Pacific Ocean and those beaches is like golden sand and palm trees and very, very bright colors. And then seeing this other version of the Pacific was kind of unreal. And the way that the rainforest crashes into the beach and just how moody it was, it felt like standing on the edge of the world, which you are standing on the edge of the world when you're in Tofino. And it really stuck with me. And when I started writing fiction, I started writing in 2020, there were two places that I knew I wanted to write about other than Barry's Bay, which is a small town in Ontario where I grew up in cottage country. And those two places were Prince Edward Island, where Meredith and I had spent our first vacation as friends together, and the other place was Tofino. And I was just waiting for a story that could kind of match the drama of the landscape, and that became this story.
Yeah. And I just to stick with the setting for a few minutes, like you're such a master of capturing a place.
Thanks, friend.
And from the sights, the smells, the sounds of Tofino, the vibe of Tofino, even down to real businesses and restaurants that you can visit when you're there. I know you put a lot of work into really nailing those details.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us through your process and making sure you're accurate?
Yes, I used to be a journalist, as you heard in the introduction, and my what I would absolutely not want is for somebody who is familiar with the area or from the area read and say, oh, has she even been here? I want to write settings as if they're characters. I feel like, my books are these kind of, emotional, sweeping love stories, but the place grounds them. You feel like you've been transported to these locations, and I think the stories feel more real because of that. The way I write is I can't really picture the characters' faces, but I can really see the rooms, the landscapes. It all kind of plays out like a movie for me. So I'm very visual in that way when I write. And with Tofino, my husband and I visited a few years ago. I knew that I wanted to set a book there, but I didn't have a story, but I wanted to kind of get to know the place again. I took a lot of notes. And then after I wrote the first draft for Our Perfect Storm, we went back because I knew then that there were things that George and Frankie would do. Their trip to Tofino is over the course of 7 days, and each day has a theme and different activities that they do. And some of those activities I had already done. I had done surfing, etc. And some of them were things that I knew that they should do, like they needed to go to the floating sauna, and they needed to go to the hot springs that I hadn't done. And so I wanted to go do those things to make sure that it was as real as possible. And then we went on this foraging tour that really helped. I love nature, and I wanted to just get a better understanding of kind of the flora of Tofino. But that Frankie is a chef, and so that foraging tour really helped give texture to her character, her career as well. So it was, it's so helpful to go and visit. It's just, and it's also a good part of the job.
It's a great part of the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really my favorite part of my job.
Yes. Yes.
One of the very cool things that we just did in Tofino was we got to go to the floating sauna as well. And it was
I didn't. I stayed with my kids. Meredith got to go.
I didn't bring my kids with me, so it was the right choice.
Yes.
But the floating sauna was it was such a vibe. We had that sauna cooking. I went in the water. But one of my very favorite details was that the boat driver that took us to the sauna was a very, I'll say cute.
Charming.
Very cute. British guy named Laurie.
Yes.
Like Little Women, Joe and Laurie.
Yeah. He was my driver last year too.
And that's so crazy because we're out on the boat and he's like, my name's Laurie. And I'm like, did everybody else hear that? His name is Laurie? How can his name be Laurie?
Because Little Women kind of comes into play with this book.
Well, yeah, that's where I was going with that. So
He was really cute. He was
so cute. But yeah, there's little bits of Little Women peppered throughout the story.
Yes.
And so I want you to tell us a little bit more about incorporating those little bits into Our Perfect Storm and how Frankie and George are like Joe and Laurie and how they're not.
Right. So I knew that this book the setting is always the thing I start with all my stories. So I knew it would take place in Tofino. I knew I wanted a protagonist who was very different from the last protagonist I wrote, Alice, from what was that book called? One Golden Summer.
One Golden Summer.
One Golden Summer. Alice was very soft. She's a caregiver. She puts everybody ahead of herself, and she's very aware of other people and her effect on other people. And Frankie, I wanted Frankie to be kind of outspoken, strong-willed, you kind of want to like change who you're working with as a writer. And the other thing I wanted was for her best friend and her kind of love interest to be very similar. I felt like I hadn't done that dynamic before, to have two people who are so alike. And so I was thinking about that. So we've got these two hot-headed, stubborn people. And then I thought, oh, that's Joe and Laurie from Little Women. And I grew up watching the 90s version of Little Women with Winona Ryder and Christian Bale. I hear some millennials humming, right? We had it on VHS. I watched it so many times. I rewound The Kiss over and over. I would sometimes shut it off after Joe refuses to marry Laurie. What Joe is told, what she believes, is that they're too similar for it to work, that they would kill each other, they're too hot-headed. And so I thought, well, what if maybe that could work, and how would that work? And so that became not only like an inspiration for the dynamic of the characters, but I thought I love to weave these literary references into the book. Like in This Summer Will Be Different, Lucy Maud Montgomery's Anne of Green Gables is such a touchstone in that book, and so is Little Women. In this book, the characters reference the book. They watch the movie. They have a little mailbox in the hedge between their houses where they share letters, and that was inspired by Joe and Laurie. But it's not a retelling of Little Women in any way. It's just kind of a way of paying tribute to that kind of classic story.
Yeah, I really love those details.
Thanks.
Speaking of Frankie,
yeah,
I love how relatable she is, because I feel like Frankie, she's a little bit fiery.
Do you think she's relatable?
I think she is.
Yeah.
She's a little bit fiery. She's a little bit prickly. She's a little bit confused about the path that she's on and where she's going. I think that she is imperfect, and I think that's really easy for us to relate to, because I know I feel like that a lot of the time as well. So how important is it to you that your readers can relate to the female main character?
I think I try to find women who are on a journey. And I think whether Frankie's journey with her family, with her career, with her friendship with George is one that you have been on yourself, it's still something that you've maybe seen your friends experience. She's just turned 30. She has kind of restructured her life to be what she thinks is a responsible adult at 30 years old, and then everything kind of falls apart. And she realizes that she was really living in a way that wasn't true to who she was, and she needs to kind of figure herself out again at 30. And I think turning 30 is one of those ages that there's a lot of weight to it. Who are you supposed to be in your 30s? It's the same with graduating from high school. It's this, there are these milestones in our lives that we think we need to be. Many of us think we need to be in a certain place. And the truth is that we are always learning, we're always changing, we're kind of always coming of age. And so I think whether you see yourself in Frankie or not, you can really appreciate what it is that she's gone through. It's not like that relatability question is not something I think about actively when I'm writing. I just want the characters to feel real and flawed. I when I read books where characters, the only problems are exterior problems, things that are happening in their lives, a bad boss or, what their situation is, that they're not grappling with what their own choices, the situations they've put themselves in, how they see themselves. I'm really not interested in that. I don't find that compelling. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Frankie and George have a really beautiful journey together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody here read One Golden Summer, and if there's any Charlie fans here.
Yeah.
So Charlie, when I first read One Golden Summer, Charlie became my top Carley Fortune boyfriend. What? And
yes.
He really may have been since Every Summer After, to be honest, if I'm really being honest about it.
Wow. I like him too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Yeah.
But what I really like about George is that I thought he was a really great follow-up to Charlie.
Oh, yeah. They're quite different.
They're very different, but I really dug George, too.
I know you did. I found that so interesting. I remember in the earliest reads, both you and my editor, Amanda, were like, oh, George is amazing. Think we might like him more than Charlie. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, that doesn't seem right.
I know. It is crazy.
I like him too, though. Yeah.
Charlie is very, a wink.
Yeah,
he's very, flirty, but George is like a man.
Oh. He is a real adult, and he's had to be an adult since he was very young, and he has a very, I think Charlie is very big-hearted as well. Yeah, George is very thoughtful, very, very smart, incredibly loyal, a yearner.
He's a big-time yearner, big
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
I would love for you to share, how do you craft a man like George or Charlie? How do you come up with these men? And for the single girls here, do you think those men exist in the real world? Notwithstanding my husband.
Well, what about Lori, our boat driver?
Lori definitely had a little Charlie wink to him. Very Every Summer After Charlie.
I feel like his mother, no, he's from the UK. His mother's not here. Maybe his girlfriend's here. We're going to get in big trouble.
We saw him at the coffee shop yesterday morning.
You did?
Yeah, we did. And he was chatting up the girl, and they were talking about boat motors, but it was very flirty, and I was like, oh my God! I'm witnessing this in real time.
That's amazing.
It was great. I was like, yes, go girl.
That's so funny. Okay, how do I make them? Well, it always starts with the protagonist. So the only time where Charlie was the only character that I had first before the protagonist, before I had Alice, and that was very, very difficult way to write because I had to create. I ended up auditioning characters to star for One Golden Summer because I wanted a character who I was interested in and who was the right match for him. And I created 18 characters and they had job descriptions, and I wrote 11,000 words with one character that I ended up trashing. That was really hard because I knew Charlie so well. But I always start, so with this, I had Frankie. And so it was about thinking, who is Frankie? And therefore, what is the foil to her? There has to be tension there. There has to be, they've been best friends since they were children. So, what has carried them through this whole time? What do they do for each other? So he always grows out of her. I guess that's good advice for dating too, is what Frankie has kind of seen with her fiance, that she's really bent and molded herself to be the kind of person she thought was appropriate as a fiance and a wife. And what she has to kind of recognize, and what George recognizes, is she's so wonderful the way she is, and the perfect person for her, if you can use the word perfect, which I don't know, wouldn't often describe people as perfect,
but a storm.
But a storm. But I think, what is so great about George and Frankie is that while they are stubborn and fiery and they fight with each other, they care so deeply for each other, and really George gives Frankie a lot of space for who she is. And I think that's what's really beautiful, is finding someone who sees you and loves who you are.
Yeah, I love that about them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tear. I have a lovely friend here tonight, Sam from Victoria. Where are you, Sam? Hi. I can't see you at all. Hi, Sam. So on my Instagram stories last night, I asked for some questions for Carley, and Sam asked a really good one.
Ooh.
So Our Perfect Storm has like a very colorful cast of characters.
Yes.
Can you tell me about how you create that cast of characters and their development?
Oh, I love secondary characters are sometimes my favorite characters to write, because they're just in there a little bit, and you don't have to, they don't have to do too much. And I love using them as fodder and as decoration. And I wanted Frankie to have two older brothers who are quite different. And she is in the first chapter, she's 8 years old. You meet her when she's 8, and you just see like how being the youngest girl with two older brothers really shapes her. And that's what all these secondary characters do, is they're shaping and really serving the protagonist. And then there's, her mother, her relationship with her mother is really, really important, and her mother's story is very important. I thought that's probably, aside from George and Frankie's mom is the character I spent most time thinking about, and some of that is in the book and some of it isn't. And then George's grandmother is Mimi. She's a former ballet dancer who is, I think, such a great, fun character. I knew that I wanted George and Frankie to live beside each other. George goes to live with his grandmother, and Frankie and her brothers think that she's a witch. And so she lives in the big house next door, and had so much fun with that kind of imagery. She's kind of like a Miss Havisham, but not quite. And yeah, there's a really great head of guest experiences at the resort in Tofino, whose name is Kevin, who is inspired by a real head of guest experiences at a resort Marco and I stayed at in France, who is like, there are things that happen in the book that definitely happen in France. And yeah, it's just so much, it just brings a lot of life and texture, I think, to the books, to have these, while not, like, you don't want to be, I think with these love stories, like, I love to look at all these different relationships, but I never want the reader to be like, no, but I'm bored about these things. All I care about is the George and Frankie of it all. So I want to make sure they're used in like the right places and the right amount.
I'd love to go back to Frankie's mom a little bit. Mm-hmm. I really identified with Frankie's mom in this story. So if you haven't read it yet, this is not a spoiler. You learn this very early on, but Frankie's mom leaves their family temporarily when Frankie is 8 to pursue some of her own dreams. Mm-hmm. And this really resonated with me because I feel like in motherhood, we really start to lose ourselves. And the kids can really kind of like amplify that so much. But the idea of, Frankie's mom leaving to take something for herself and to achieve something that is important to her aside from motherhood was really, really like enlightening to me, especially when you're really in the trenches of motherhood. So I guess my question to you is, as a mother with a really, really busy career and an exciting career, how do you do that for yourself?
Well, I left them tonight with my husband at the hotel. Yeah, it's a good question. And I wanted, the opening line of the book is, I met George St. James the day my mother vanished. And I always knew that that was how the book was going to start, that her mother had to go away and she would come back. And so it was figuring out why, what drew her away. And career and dreams, it just felt so relatable to me. I don't like to write villains who are pure villains. And obviously, this was a major trauma for Frankie and something she's still there grappling with in their relationship as mother and daughter. But her mother, I think, is a very, you can really empathize with her. And it is really, really tough. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. I travel for work. I traveled most of this month. I'm traveling most of next month. And it's last year, I missed something at the school and my son cried for hours and hours and hours. And now that he's a bit older, he also understands that his tears have a big effect on me. So we had a real conversation about, he will do that. You're never here. And it's like, well, let's fact check that. I'm kind of here all the time, except for the times I'm not there. It's hard. It's hard. It's true. I mean, my husband and I are both at home every day, but then there are things that call us away. And I think it's really great for them to see that I have a job that I love so much. And Matt, my oldest is 9 and my little one is 5. So my oldest boy has come to events like these because I think it's important for him to see what I mean when he might say, can you just cancel this thing? No, and here's why. But I really try not to feel guilty. I think this mom guilt thing is a society, that's society telling us how we're supposed to be as parents. And but I think I did work through some of that stuff in this book. And I think it's, I always try to have a strong female relationship. I think all of the books have strong female relationships. And this was, the first mother and daughter one. Meet Me at the Lake, it looks at a mother-daughter relationship, but Fern's mother has passed away. So this is the first time we have these women kind of working through what their adult relationship looks like. And I thought that was really beautiful and special. And of course, George and Frankie's mom get along so well, which annoys Frankie to no end.
Yeah, it was great to be able to understand her mom's perspective in the whole thing. I understand Frankie's side of things for the most part, but I'm hoping my kids gave me a really hard time about coming on this trip, but I was like, I'm obviously going on this trip. Are you crazy? Yeah. So someday when Ruby's old enough to read this, I think she'll understand a little bit more about, Frankie's point of view and her mom's.
Yeah, and you're such a present parent. That's the other thing.
I know.
You are there for your kids all the time. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Except for right now.
They'll get over it. So we're getting very close to a very exciting thing. A very exciting thing, right?
The friend who got dragged here is what are you even talking about?
Okay. Friend who got dragged here. On June 10th, clear your schedule. Because you're going to be watching 8 episodes of Every Year After based on Carley's debut novel.
Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
First foray into adaptation.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience adapting your novel, about being an executive producer.
Yeah, it's been a wild process. So Every Summer After was optioned in 2022, the summer that it came out. Amazon bought the rights to that book. So it's been there's a long journey behind the scenes. And then we shot the first season last summer, very close to here. We shot it in Vancouver and on Bowen Island. I came out to set a couple of times, which was wonderful. I think I've seen every episode. You've seen the first
three.
The first three. I love it so much. I think that it is, an adaptation, especially a series. It has to kind of do two things. And one of the things is really honor the book. And the other thing is expand it into something that can, knock on wood, last multiple seasons. And I think what Amy B. Harris, our showrunner, has done is really found the heart and soul of Every Summer After. She's got, all the moments I think readers really, really want to see, while also like teasing out storylines in new ways for secondary characters that create this like ensemble cast. And the cast is so fantastic.
Oh my God.
Charlie? Michael, we love Michael.
Sam too.
Yes,
he's
Matt's
dreamy.
amazing.
He's so dreamy.
Sadie Savarol as Percy is just incredible. She brings so much depth to that character.
And Alicia Cuthbert. Canadian Queen.
As Sue. Oh my gosh, she's an incredible Sue. I remember when I had my first call with Amy. Amy is very experienced showrunner. She got her start on Sex and the City. She did the Carrie Diaries. She's done the Wilds. She also understands the idea of setting as character, which I love. And I remember our first call, she had read the book overnight, so loved the book. And she gave me her vision for how the first scene of the show would play out. And it was taking elements of the book, but it was different. And I loved it. I had goosebumps. And I was like, she is so the right person to take care of this story. And I cried a number of times. I cried at the opening scene. I've got a selfie of myself watching the first episode, tears. A selfie watching the final episode, major tears. And I think it's beautiful. I'm so excited for people to see it. And Amazon has one Golden Summer too. So the idea is if we get a second season, if we get a second season, Amy would be working one Golden Summer into a second season. So, yeah, I know.
Yay!
I know. Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
So I've got the 5-minute warning, but I have 3 more questions.
Let's do it.
Before we go to audience questions. So if you have a question that you're dying to ask, start thinking about it right now. But first, my 3 questions. Okay, we also have another adaptation that's
right.
in the works. So what can you tell us about This Summer Will Be Different?
Yeah, so This Summer Will Be Different is going to be a 10-episode season with Netflix. We're shooting this summer in Toronto and on Prince Edward Island. I've read the first episode, which I love. We're casting. We're talking about music. We're doing it. It's going
happening.
fast and furious.
It is happening.
I'm so excited. Yeah. It's very exciting.
Yes, I'll be a puddle throughout that entire process.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's like my dream to shoot on Prince Edward Island. Just a dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
And their dream as well. Okay, so Carley, you have taken us to Tofino.
Yeah.
You've taken us to Prince Edward Island. You've
Yep.
taken us to Muskoka.
Yep.
Toronto.
Yep.
And Barry's Bay. Mm-hmm. This is not a book spoiler, but what other Canadian destinations are on your travel bucket list?
I'm not telling you.
No, it's not about a book.
No, I'm not telling.
Oh, she thinks she's being funny now.
I'm not being funny. I'm not going to say.
Okay, then we'll just skip to the next question. Okay, so
you
now
you'd get me.
Well, ask me later.
Don't you dare tell.
I don't know anything. I people always think I know things, but I don't. Except for, I have read the first draft of book 6.
That's true. You have.
This is Best Friend Perks.
Yes. Yes.
And one of the things that I really like to do is Carly and I work together now, so this is one of like my major responsibilities. I like to pick a couple of Taylor Swift songs that go with each book.
It's part of her job description.
It's part of my job description. So I got to read it a couple weeks ago, and I have a couple picks that if you'll permit me, I'd like to share.
Yeah, but you're not going to share the one that I think is too much of a spoiler, right?
You told me I was not allowed to share that one, so I won't.
She'll go rogue. Okay, yes, you can share them.
Okay, and feel free to debate without giving any information.
You're the expert.
Okay, my first pick is Hits Different.
Yeah.
You like that one?
I like that one.
Yeah? Okay. My second one is Cardigan.
Yeah. I think that's good. Are they perfect?
It's good too. Well, it's not done yet.
That's true. That's true.
Yes.
It's not done yet.
It's not done yet. So
is
those
the
are
book
my
perfect? No.
It's really good. And I am the worst for this because I'm always like, it's perfect. You don't have to change anything.
No notes.
I love it.
Yeah.
No notes. Put it out on the shelves. They're going to eat it up.
Yeah. Best book I've read so far this year.
Well, and it always ends up being my favorite.
Actually, you didn't say that this time.
Oh, no.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. Thank you.
This event was recorded live on May 26, 2026. You can hear more conversations like this one at our upcoming special events taking place in September, and at our week-long October Festival, which will host over 150 authors in more than 90 events. Check out all the details at writersfest.bc.ca. We would like to thank Penguin Random House Canada for making Carley's appearance in Vancouver possible, and our public sector funders, the Government of Canada, the Canada Council for the Arts, the Government of BC, the BC Arts Council, the City of Vancouver, and CMHC Granville Island.